I would now like to introduce our guest speaker for the evening, William Nelson. Bill is the Director of Correctional Services for the Volunteers of America. Bill received his bachelor's degree from the University of Minnesota and his master's of social work from the University of Michigan. He has been working in the corrections industry since 1963 in a variety of areas ranging from probation and parole to pretrial diversion. Bill has many distinguished accomplishments, including producing 77 broadcast programs on criminal justice topics and recently earned 2 Telly Awards for broadcast excellence. He has also received service awards from Dakota County Community Action Council and the Foundation for the Improvement of Justice for his work in the development of a recovery center for women. Additionally, he was identified by the PBS series The Visionaries as a visionary and was the recipient of the Distinguished Toastmaster Award from Toastmasters International. It is with great pleasure I present to you Bill Nelson.
Thank you, Megan. Mr. President, members of the Brown College administration, fellow faculty members, family and friends, and of course, our honored graduates. Can't forget them. A long time ago, and a long time means 45 years ago, I was in your shoes. And as I have talked with many of you, you are probably, in many cases, the first of your extended family to go to and graduate from college. And as I was in that position, we had a kind of a celebration. And the celebration was for my graduation, and I had a large extended family, and we had an open house. Now, after the festivities were at a lull, I could see off in the corner Grandpa. Now, Grandpa was an elderly man, and I could see that he wanted to talk to me. And he said, "Billy," I was always Billy to him, "why don't you bring that over and let me see what you got?" And as he looked at my diploma, it kind of read like this, and he ran his fingers under the words as he read them. The Regents of the University of Minnesota have conferred upon William F. Nelson the degree of Bachelor of Arts with all its privileges. And then his finger stopped. And as he stopped, he pointed something to me and said, "This is what you got to worry about," because the rest of the phrase was, "and its obligations." Now, I want to tell you that it took me 25 years to figure out what Gramps was saying. And I am going to share with you tonight, I'm going to save you 25 years of learning by sharing with you what some of those features and characteristics are, in hopes that you will make a decision tonight or in the near-term future. And the decision involves that which you are going to be good as you are, and whether you're going to be great as you could be. Now, the first element of that equation is thinking. Albert Einstein once said, "No problem is solved by the same mind that created it." I will give you an example. There was a motel chain set up a new motel in Florida. First few weeks, they left their cards. "What did you think of our stay at our new motel?" They were horrified to see that consistently people were saying not enough elevators. And with the horrifying conclusion, they could not figure out a way of changing that architecturally. And they had a big meeting. And as Governor Ventura would say, there's a meeting of the suits. And they kept thinking, people moving, people moving, people moving. Well, I had an administrative assistant who was taking minutes, and she blurted out, "I have a solution." And they all looked at her, and there was a long pause. And then she said, "We can put in mirrors on the basis that people are into themselves and they don't mind waiting for an elevator as long as they can look at themselves in a mirror." And the complaints dropped. Now that's the kind of thinking I'm talking about. There's another quality, and that has to do with how we relate to other people. And I'm going to share with you briefly the rules of engagement. Mind you, you can be the most capable and intelligent person, have a solution to every problem. But if you cannot get along with other people, you will not succeed as well as if you could. First rule of engagement, don't be a jerk. Now, if I were to ask you, to a show of hands, how many jerks are in this audience, I'm not sure a single hand would come up. On the other hand, it's possible that we can be jerks, depending on where we are. How about on the freeway? And somebody has just cut us off. Remembering that people can kind of lose their sense of proportion on the freeway when they're driving. What do you say to that person? What gestures do you show that person? How much do you use your horn? What kind of hand gestures? And of course, read the lips, okay? If you don't want to be a jerk, I have a suggestion for you. When that happens to you, position yourself so they can read your lips and say to them, and you can't read my lips from this distance, so I'll whisper it, "I love you." Now, you're going to get a reaction. It's going to frustrate that person, number one. And number two, they're going to move 2 lanes over because anybody that would say that has got to be some kind of a nut. Okay? Second rule and the third rule work together. They're always right. And the third rule is they will resist any means for you to argue them into being wrong. And then you get to the fourth rule. And the fourth rule is simply this: don't ask them or get them to like you. Encourage them through your own ways to like themselves, and the rest will be taken care of. And that is a solution that has worked for me, but honest to goodness, it took me 25 years to figure that one out. Now, I'm old, okay, let's face it. I mean, I graduated in '63, way back in '63. And that was an era when there was a work ethic. I urge you to not ignore that quality in your lifestyle and work style. And I'll point that out with 2 simple quotes. First quote: in my political career, I have found that there is no substitute for hard work. Hubert Horatio Humphrey. Second quote: I found out the harder I worked, the luckier I got. Thomas Jefferson. And that's enough said about the work ethic. Finally, there is this question of legacy. Legacy. We all might be working on right now, especially for and with the little ones. Now, I applaud Brown College for supporting boys and girls mentorships. I also know that some of you have grown up in families having foster brothers and foster sisters. You can never dismiss the idea that the little ones are watching us all the time. And anything we can do to better their lives, we're on a mission in bettering our lives at the same time. Finally, I have had the opportunity to share a legacy that I inherited from Gramps 45 years later. And Gramps, wherever you are, thank you for giving me that piece of wisdom so that I may share it to this audience. I'm Bill Nelson. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Bill.